I've got this rain catchment system on one side of the house, and we are going to go ahead and build a similar system on the other side. And what I want to show you here, I'm attached to the gutter system, and that gutter system comes down, and behind this fancy area, I've got my 4 barrels. One of the things that's a good idea to do is to have a diverter. So take a look at this. I have the option of running the water down to the ground like it is set up right now because my barrels are full, or I can switch this lever right over here. And now it is set up to go to the rain barrels. Very easy. Now back to the ground. All right, I like this particular style. I'll have the name in the, I'll have the ordering information in the description. But I like this because when I cut down the downspout, you can see that this curves around and comes right back in line. So I didn't have to realign my downspout at all. This was beautiful. In that aspect, it was pretty easy. So I've got 3 of these diverters up right now. I'm about to do the 4th one, and I'm going to go ahead and film that for you. So let's go ahead and see how that's done. All right, so what are some of the tools? I'll tell you what, you see that hacksaw? I did the first one with the hacksaw. Oh my gosh, kicked my old butt. So I went and dug out my Sawzall and put a metal blade on that. I still need the hacksaw to do the finishing work because, as you can see, that gutter is really close to the house, and I just don't want to cut the house. I guess I could put something behind it, but this works just as fine as long as I get most of the metal cut with the Sawzall. The rest is not too difficult. All right, so I've got my ladder, and I do have it balanced. I need to make sure that my ladder is not uneven because so many accidents happen at the home with ladders. Ladders can be very dangerous. Got to have the work gloves because this is sheet metal. Sheet metal can be sharp, and especially if you have an imperfect cut, very, very dangerous. Make sure you get a good pair of work gloves. What else do I have? I have a drill because I am going to tie this together with small hex head screws, sheet metal screws. And I want to pre-drill those holes. Makes it really easy to do that. And to drive the screws in, 1/4 inch nut driver. So I have a 1/4 inch nut driver that'll do the job. Now the tricky part is sometimes to get these different pieces fitting. And you can see this is the kit that I have. This is how it came. Well, yeah, I had to assemble it. It came in pieces, but this is the kit. All right, so you can see that kit. Now I have to cut a top and bottom piece out from the gutter, and I'm gonna have to screw that in. So it could be kind of sharp, and but I have these other tools here because the screwdriver and the pliers, because sometimes they just don't fit. The one piece does not fit into the other piece so well. So keep in mind, a rule of thumb is that the piece where the water is coming from goes inside where the water is going to. That way you're not going to have any leakage outside of the joints. All right, you don't want any leakage outside the joints. All right, so where am I going to cut? I have already pre-measured. You can see my, let's see, there's one. I'm trying to find the light. Let me climb up here. Where am I going to cut? There's one mark, and there's the other mark. So I'm going to cut that section. And how did I measure that? Let me go over here and show you how I measured that. What I did was I took the distance. I went about 2/3 down into this slot here, and then 2/3 up from the bottom. Measured that length. Yes, measured twice. I haven't cut yet, but measured that, and we're going to go ahead and cut that. And you know, it's possible I may have to adjust it up and down. What I will do is remove the 2 screws holding the bracket if I need to adjust that. So I'm not going to be too worried with precision, although we're going to be really close here. All right, let me go ahead and do some cutting. All right, top and bottom are cut with the Sawzall. Time to break out the hacksaw. And I cut the top piece, Now I have got to cut the bottom piece, but I'll tell you what I am going to do to make my life easier. I am going to disconnect the bracket, remove this from the bracket, because that's all this holding is, a thin little bracket. And if I don't do that, I end up having to just really hold on tight with one hand to the downspout. Forget that. I'm just going to remove the dang thing and then cut that other piece off. There it is. I had used that 1/4-inch nut driver to remove this from the bracket. Brought it over, put it on my horses, and cut that nice cut. There's the piece sitting on the ground. We'll probably use this other piece to help reach the rain barrels when we put the rain barrels in place. All right, let's go ahead and start putting this baby back together. All right, so the next step, I'm going to take this long downspout and I am going to attach it to the bottom piece. And you can see this is already kind of crimped so that it should be able to fit right in here. But my experience is that life is not so simple. We may have to bend and tweak this. I prefer to connect everything on the ground before I tie in up there. That's the last tie in. And then I'm going to go ahead and screw everything together. I just found that that is a lot easier to handle if that's the last piece. But we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. All right, as you can see, I've got these two pieces fit together. And whoa, you are laughing at me. Do not laugh at me. I do have that bent in a little bit. We're going to draw that back out when we put the screws in. But I did have to crimp that a little bit more than I like. All in all, it took about 20 seconds. And you can see we're kind of lined up. We're going to have to tuck that in a little bit to make that fit, but that is by design. So we have got this ready to go, and I'm going to go ahead and mount that. Now, key thing, very, very key thing, before you start screwing everything together, make sure you have this pointed the right way. And as you can see, this is designed so that it'll catch the water from the downspout and will run around the corner, because all of my barrels are going to be here. My rain barrels will be here, and that'll be the next step. So make sure you've got it in the right direction. And you can see I've got a little bit of overlap, just like we planned. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can get this last connection made. Got this piece in, but look at, I had to disconnect that. So if you find that you have to disconnect any pieces to manipulate this, I strongly recommend that you disconnect parts from this kit. You don't have to worry about disconnecting the parts that you assemble, because that is tough. But you can see these are already crimped so that one can fit in the other, and it'll be a heck of a lot easier to get back together. All right, we're going to put that back together, and then we're going to start screwing it in. All right, I screw one hole at a time. This was the first one here, and so this is the next hole. I do one at a time and put the screw in to maintain alignment. So that's the first piece. I'm going to put that second screw in, and you could put more screws. This kit definitely comes with enough screws to put enough screws to put more than 2 in a connection. But I'm going to go ahead and start with 2 and add some later. And I start top to bottom. I just find it's a lot easier that way. All right, let's get working. All right, look at that. There it is. We are done. We have our diverter in place. We are now ready for some rain catchment barrels, and the diverter is still in line with the rain gutter, ready to go. One thing remains, just one thing. This could make a mess if I don't remember this, and that is that bracket. All right, you see that bracket? That is pointing towards where the water is going to flow. That would get us to the rain catchment system, which is not existent. So just wanted to show you how that works. And boom, let's put it back. Now it's on the side of going straight down to the gutter, and that's where the water is going to go. Boom, we are done. Great system, love it. Time to get some barrels over here.